The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning, my sister. It is Tuesday morning here. It's Tony Kurre. Happy birthday to Bonnie Raitt today. She turns 73. Jack Osborne, who I believe just had a baby boy, right? Turns 37 today. Of course, his old man Ozzy just recently said that he's not leaving the United States to go back to the UK because he was talking about gun violence and everything else here in the States. He said the UK sucks. He's staying here in the LA area. Okay. And also, Bobby Bowden would have been 93 today, and I hate to say this, but I totally forgot that Bobby Bowden passed away last year. But happy birthday to Bobby Bowden. He would have been 93 today. A couple of things that kind of piqued my interest this morning. The $1.9 billion Powerball was not drawn last night. Brandon Austin Morris, good morning to you. Was not drawn last night. And, of course, a lot of people are like, wait, what's going on here? You don't mess with people's money, man. Never mess with people's money. Doesn't matter what they've got, how much they got. You don't screw with people's money. There's a lot of people out there obviously think they're going to win the $1.9 billion that pay out over $900 million in the lump sum. You have a 1 in 292 million chance of winning, but someone's going to win it eventually. I think this is like the 41st drawing. But it's picked every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. The $1.9 billion Powerball. Of course, we don't have that here in Alabama. I think we're one of only 3 states in our part of the Powerball thing. And for some reason, last night at 11 o'clock, everyone was waiting for their tickets and their numbers, and they came out and said, we have a delay. We're not drawing the $1.9 billion Powerball tonight because evidently there are like 48 recording areas, platforms, if you will, that people have to report all their sales, and evidently there was one that did not report their sales in time, and when they're not reported in time, it's a security breach, and they can't do the drawing. So now they're saying we don't know when they're going to do the drawing, but there's another drawing supposed to be for tomorrow night. I don't know what's going on, but if you're one of those people that drove to Atlanta to get a Powerball, who knows? We'll see what happens. It'd be kind of cool to be taking home $900 million, despite the fact that 75% of all people who have won some type of lottery are either dead or have major family issues. Just saying, money's not everything. Sad news in the world of celebrities. I guess you've heard by now that Aaron Carter died at the age of 34, either by suicide, accidental suicide. Well, it's really not an accidental suicide, I guess, but he had just been through his 5th stint in rehabilitation back in September. If you remember, you Aaron Carter fans, you remember when he went through rehab his 4th time, he's like, I'm good. I've got this. I've figured this out. I'm a different person. I'm happy, and this will never happen again as far as in his drug issues and his addictions. And then he went back in September for another rehabilitative stint. He said it wasn't because of a relapse, but because it was because of his triggers. He wanted to make sure that he would not to go back in. And then there was some TMZ report where he was doing some live stream on social media, and people were hearing weird sounds off mic, and he said he was just trolling people. Now we know the truth. The weird thing about this, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but man, what is up with people dying in bathtubs? Seriously. I mean, when you're really, really messed up, the last thing I'm going to do is be in the bathroom, first of all. And second of all, I'm not going to be taking a bath or be falling into a bath. I don't get Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley was sitting on a toilet, Judy Garland, Jim Morrison. There's a list of like 30 people who have died, not in the bathroom, in the bathtub. Like what? Am I missing something here? Like the last thing I want to do, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm all messed up on whatever it is to be in hot water. That does not sound fun to me. Like when I'm really, really screwed, like back in the day, 20 years ago, if I was like really messed up, I was really, really drunk, the last thing I want to do is take a hot bath. I don't know. Just saying. All right, so today is midterm Tuesday. On this date in 1994, Sonny Bono was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. Need I say more? Sonny Bono. That's Sonny Bono. The knucklehead. The guy, a lot of people said he was the dumbest nut in the batch, was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives back in 1994. I said this yesterday about voting, and Brian Johnson of AC/DC said he's never voted for anything in his life. And he's like, the minute my voice starts coming into play, we got issues, we got problems, because he's like, I don't know what's going on. He's lived a very, very great and blessed life as the lead singer for AC/DC and Gordy and everything else. But he's like, it's weird because before we started pushing people to get out and vote, let your voice be heard, seemed like things were running okay. We always had issues, we all had problems, and now we're more polarized than we've ever been because everyone's got to get out and vote, get out and give it. Listen, and hear me out here, okay? Hear me out. I think it's important you vote. I think if you're one of those people that's bitching and moaning about the culture of our politics and where our country is headed, and you want to make a difference, then for sure, if you feel like voting is going to change that, then go for it. I'm totally for that, and I do think it's important. It's a right of ours, and I think it's super important that we do get out and get our voices heard and vote. But the last presidential election back in 2020, I went to a place across the street. I'm in Shelby County. I went to a place where I have voted ever since I've lived here in 1988. Okay? I waited in line for about half an hour. It was great. 30 minutes, no big whoop. I get inside. My name's not in the list. They're like, oh, your polling place changed. I said, okay, tell me where I'm supposed to go. So they sent me down somewhere down off of 119 at a church down there. And I get in there, and the parking lot is full. It's raining a little bit, no big whoop. And there's a line of cars, and it's like, 10:30 in the morning. I'm trying to get in a time where I know people aren't going to be taking lunch off or after work. They tell me it's going to take 7.5 hours to vote. And I was like, all right, am I going to be that dolt? Am I going to be that guy, 7 hours, I'm going to stand in line. I'll stand in line for a week to vote for my rights, blah, 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 blah. Or if I'm going to waste an entire 7.5 hours standing out in a parking lot waiting to vote. We live in the United States of America. We live in stinking Shelby County. I shouldn't have to wait 7.5 hours to vote. So I didn't vote. And I said I didn't vote. I know who I was going to vote for. Don't think it would have made one iota. It's only one vote. I know it's important for all of us to vote. Again, don't get me wrong. I think you go vote, you go do your thing. And I have voted in every presidential election since I was 18. My son just turned 18. He's voting today. I was like, good for you, son. Let your voice be heard. That's great if you feel like that. But when I'm looking at the ballot today for Shelby County, there are no less than 47 different things that I'm voting for. Now, I know the governor, I know the coroner. Do I have to vote for the Shelby County coroner? There's 10 amendments just in the Shelby County voting process. I don't know what they are. I haven't heard anything about them. I'm reading through each paragraph, and I still don't know what the hell they mean or what they say. I was reading through it this morning. I spent like an hour this morning reading over the ballot, 47 different things. And out of the 47 things, I didn't recognize like 39 of them. Now, there's a couple of things, the sheriff on there I like, governor's races on there. Yeah, I'll vote for the Shelby County coroner. My point is this. Are we better off voting for things we don't know what we're talking about? Have you read the amendments? We normally have like 2 or 3 big things on the top of our head. Again, depending on whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent, you may vote along party lines. To me, if you're going to vote along party lines, why are we even voting? If you're a registered Democrat, a registered Republican, or a registered independent, then they don't need to get your vote. If you're just voting Republican straight through, then why? I don't get it. Why are we voting? If you're registered, can't we just say, okay, you're registered, stay home? We know which way you're going to vote because you're going to vote Republican straight through, or you're going to vote Democrat straight through. I don't understand that. I have mentioned in the past, in presidential elections, I have voted Republican and I voted Democrat. I've gone both. I look at the person who's running. There have been Republicans. My dad was a strong Republican. He voted straight Republican his entire life, and that's fine. And he would tell me, I don't really like this Republican person, but I'm Republican, I'm conservative, and that's the way we vote in this family, so that's the way I'm going to vote. He liked things about the Democrat better than the Republican, but that's the way that generation used to vote, and I understand that. That's fine, but it was straight Republican. It was Ohio. It was always Republican state. So my point being is, if you're getting in there and you don't understand a damn thing you're voting for, should you really be voting in the first place? I mean, this reminds me of when I fell asleep during the ACTs. I woke up when they tapped me on the shoulder and said, Mr. Kurre, you have like 30 minutes left in your ACT. And so I just started filling out the bubbles as quick as I possibly could, because back then I felt like I had a better shot at getting a right answer by just filling something in as opposed to leaving it empty, because when you leave it empty, nobody wins. But in this particular case, are we better off? There's 10 amendments on there, I'm telling you, and I posted it on Twitter this morning at Tony Kurre Radio. Go look at the sample ballot that you're about ready to look at. and you're going to go, I could spend a week looking at every single thing and still not know what the hell I'm voting for. And I guess it's my fault. Is it my fault that I don't know what I'm voting for? I haven't heard anything about any of these amendments. And I do research. I'm online every single morning. I'm pulling stuff up. I want to be informed. I want to be smarter than I was yesterday. I want to make a difference in my community, in my state, in this country. But I will say this. I think there are a lot of people, we talked about this yesterday. We have 7% that are far right as you can go. We have 7% that are far left as you can go. That means there's 86% of us that are somewhere in the middle. And despite the fact that, yeah, the country looks like it's falling apart, we're more polarized than we've ever been, there's shootings, people are getting pushed onto subway platforms, the whole 9 yards. I understand that. But for me, regardless of who gets voted into the office, I'm going to figure it out. And I think the majority of us feel the same way. Yeah, your vote counts. Is it going to change the way this country's run? No. Unless you're part of some larger group. We know that the minority has the loudest voice. And that's what, and certainly through social media, through TV and politicization of just about everything in this country, the little guy is the loudest guy. And it doesn't always mean he's the right guy. So while I think it's super important to vote and go do your thing, man, if that's what you're all about and you want to get out and vote, that's great. We're voting at a higher clip now than we ever had in history, yet it seems like we're in a much worse place. I don't know why. But yeah, if I'm going to get in there and I'm going to look at 47, seriously, I could spend like an hour and a half, and I read a couple of the amendments 4 or 5 different times and still don't know what the hell they mean. I have no clue. I'm like, what? Al Cooper, good morning. Like, what is this? What does this mean? And so, like, I don't know which way to vote. Because if you're getting there, and then again, well, maybe just vote along party lines. Well, you can't do that with amendments. Amendments have nothing to do with party lines. So anyway, just thought process. Again, whoever makes it into the White House or the governor's office or the Shelby County coroner, is it really important for us to vote for the Shelby County coroner? Really? And then there's a couple things where there's only one person on, so they're going to win anyway. So I'm like, maybe I should run for Shelby County coroner. I have a shot. Am I really going to be making that big of a difference? I'm a pretty even-keel guy. I'm a glass-half-full guy. I'll always find a silver lining even in my darkest days. I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. I will figure it out. So regardless of which direction it goes, and I'm not so passionate about one particular thing in this country right now that I feel the need to take a week off work and go protest in some public place. I'm not going to do that. And do I believe my vote makes a difference? Probably not, and I realize that if we all thought that way, it doesn't work. So go out there and go vote, but you may want to do a little research before you show up at the Shelby County voting place because you're not going to have a clue what half these things are. And again, if you're voting along party lines, does it really matter? You can register as a Republican, as a Democrat, and just say, I'm staying home. Just log me in, all Republican or all Democrat or all independent. I don't know. It is a special thing. We do live in a country where our vote counts. In a lot of countries, that is not the case. We just saw this whole thing with Russia taking over parts of Ukraine and them, they're putting guns to their heads and telling them to vote a certain way. Listen, that is the beautiful thing about this country. We do have the freedom to let our voices be heard, whether it's on a piece of paper or with a blowhorn or anything else, and I will never make light of that. So that's fantastic. So go do your thing, go vote, and hopefully you won't have to stand in line for 7 hours to do it. And make sure you bring a book or your phone with you because you have 47 things to go through, just saying. Getting ready to do an interview with Mark Ingram. I saw him late last night, the UAB athletic director, one of our most listened to podcasts right now because of not only the UAB Blazers and their football and basketball programs. The basketball team won last night and won 11-70. It was a great game. Jelly Walker's amazing. But also because we talk about other things outside just UAB. We talk about college football, we talk about the NIL, we talk about college football playoffs and more. So it's pretty cool stuff. So we got a lot of stuff going on with him. We'll talk to him, and I'm also working on several new podcasts. They're going to be coming out on the Tony Curry Radio Podcast Network. Search Tony Curry Radio Podcast. That's Curry with a K, K-U-R-R-E, Tony Curry Radio Podcast. and you can listen to over 1,000 episodes of every show we do here. We do shows, everything from computers to non-for-profits, to blues shows, to classic rock shows, to gambling shows. Need to Know with Kip Kiefer. I recorded him yesterday. It was great. Students of the Game. Live Wire Wednesday is coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central. By the way, good morning to all you Swedes out there. We have a lot of people in Sweden listening to Tony Curry Radio, which I absolutely love. And certainly here in Hoover, Alabama, the Birmingham area, this is our Mecca Center. This is our ground zero of everything we do when it comes to classic rock and great, unique programming. So check it out and download that TKR app. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you soon.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.